Top 12 wide receivers, right, over the last 6 games. We've got JSN, we've got Rashee Rice, we've got George Pickens, we've got St. Brown, Drake London, T. Higgins, Wandale. That one sticks out a little. Olave.
Sticks out a little.
Chase, Jamar Chase, and Devonta Smith, right? And then CD is at 13. And I only mentioned that because I mostly want to talk about George Pickens here, right? And then Troy Franklin was another one. He was off this week, but wide receiver 18 over the last 6 weeks. So he had a bye. But obviously JSN is slaughtering. Rashee Rice, I saw Dynasty Zoltan out there in them streets this week being like, I can't rank him inside the top 10 because of his A-dot. And is like, bro, you ain't been around long enough. Sorry, dude. Take your math. Go somewhere else. He's been back. He's basically been the wide receiver 1 or 2. This guy's awesome. Oh, by the way, Travis Kelce made a living off of being better than most wide receivers in this same offense. Fuck his A-dot, dog. Like, that's just you're just overthinking stuff. So sorry, catching strays, Zoltan. Sure, he's a good guy.
You ain't been around long enough.
Yeah, that's a DMX. And you ain't strong enough. Like, I can't say the rest of it. So, George Pickens, though, he's absolutely been phenomenal. Yesterday, put the team on his back. CD's effing it up. George Pickens F's up plenty of things, but yesterday has been great. And really, the CD injury, we kind of talked about it at one point, should be great for the Cowboys team just because you're going to have to get a new rapport. CD's not going to be around. You're going to move Pickens around. And I think this has been huge. They got an absolutely insane, incredible, season-saving win yesterday against a great Philadelphia defense. And he was the cog in the wheel that they needed. So again, we let it off with Chase Brown and the running backs part of things, but like, you're not selling George Pickens right now if you're in a race, right? And it's going to be probably really hard to buy George Pickens right now in general, but in the vacuum situation, and if you are like a middling team that maybe Pickens is propping you up, like, George Pickens is awesome. We went to bat for him a long time ago. At the beginning of the season, I was like, maybe we need a separation, but he just kept getting stronger. But this is a contract year, and you're going to pay George Pickens. Somebody is.
Cowboys.
And while I don't, and maybe it is the Cowboys, and which that would be, I think, best case scenario. And while I don't love to play this game, like, he is definitely a personality that I don't love. And Big Co, you've talked to this point many a times, as well as, just as a podcast, like, he's playing for a contract. You're about to give this man a whole lot of money. Is this somebody who should be a priority sell just because there is some it's always been George Pickens versus George Pickens. Yeah. And now you're about to be really rich George Pickens versus really rich George Pickens. Yeah. Moving, and dude, he is going to, all off season, we're going to be like, if this continues at any clip, he's going to be like, we just did the ranking show last week. I already moved him up 6 spots, Yeah. And he's just going to be, it's going to keep climbing higher and higher. And like, we don't know where he's going to go. Maybe it's the Cowboys. Maybe it's Tennessee, Right. Maybe it's New England. Maybe Vrabes gets a hold of, I don't know where he's going to go, but is there some sort of thing in the back of your mind where like, this is kind of a priority sell, at least if I have a decent amount of shares, at least at a 60% clip of like, I'm going to liquidate some of these assets, get something I feel safer about. Cause at this point, he's probably not that far away from being able to figure out how to get a St. Brown or somebody along those lines in one form or another that isn't going to cost,
which would be the complete opposite type of safety blanket. If equity, I'm gonna park my equity into this guy versus that guy. It's I talked about it a couple times. You mentioned it. Like, I post big contract George Pickens and being on my dynasty team, those two things, I don't feel good about them being together. Right. And I got a bunch of George Pickens. We've been doing this a long time, and we've had tons of success, and we've had some bad calls. I've been with George Pickens since day one, and even comments, 2 years ago, I said George Pickens was a top 5 just talent wide receiver.
We fought a lot of George Pickens comments, and
they came heavy in the streets of the comments to attack me. I can't believe Big Coach said he was a top 5. I just said physical body talent. I just said he's got the talent, and look at what he's turned into. But yes, when he's rich George Pickens, there's just going to be even more room for outrageousness. And who knows, I don't know what's going on. I sold Pickens and before week 1 in a league where I really needed some quarterback help. He helped net me Jalen Hurts in a trade, and I needed it. So I unloaded one. To your point, I got him on a couple of teams that are going for, actually 2 teams that are going for repeat championships. And I got him on another team that would really love to win a championship, has been a long time, et cetera, et cetera. Got him in both of our home leagues, right? I mean, I got him everywhere. And I think maybe trying to figure out a way to get out from, you got a long time, right? He's not getting paid until what? At least March, right? So you got at least the Cowboys are back in the playoff hunt. Like you said, an incredible victory yesterday. So you'll be getting the rest of the season, George Pickens. Nothing goes crazy. You got 5 months. You're on the clock. You got 5 months to at least move 50% of your shares into safer assets. Maybe you don't have, maybe not even some, you're not going to probably.
Well, so like Justin Jefferson right now would be somebody that, what do I got to do to get from Pickens to Jefferson, right?
That's a great
He's
question.
Down.
Yes.
What do I got to do? Like I just saw on here, Dynasty Daddy, a lot of firsts for George Pickens, which I'm not just trading George Pickens right up now for a straight up first. I think there's a lot of non-believers out there by all the shade we've taken in comments. And so they're like, "Oh, I'm back. We get out for don't get out for a first." Like that's not enough for what is happening right now. But George Pickens at a 1 and a 2 for Neighbors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now these are kind of things that Travis Hunter.
I'd really climbed. I mean, Neighbors. You could ease. Neighbors is a top 5 dynasty asset, a wide receiver.
Maybe down a little because he's injured, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Here's Justin Jefferson, a 2, a 4, and a 1, and Pickens for Jefferson. George Pickens and a 1 for Jefferson.
Like I said, so you're not gonna. If you
Nix for Pickens.
Superflex, yeah, I would definitely do that. I would take Bo Nix for
safe, pretty safe asset. You're taking your money out of Nvidia, and you're going into just a classic S&P 500.
So you're probably, when you move off of Pickens, it's hard to not lose ceiling play.
Yeah, right.
It's hard to come off of Pickens and be able to be as dynamic as that, but you could really raise the floor exponentially of what. And we're not joking because we're trying to maneuver our dynasty assets as best we can. There is an element of joke here. We're having a good time, but like, if you haven't been following the Pickens career as closely as I have, and you don't really know, this thing could go off the wheels real quick. And like Casey said it perfectly, man. It's literally George Pickens versus George Pickens. Nobody in the NFL defensively is standing in front of this dude stopping him. And now he's got Dak, right? That is the biggest difference maker. I said it as soon as the Cowboys got Pickens. I was like, whoa, this is a huge deal. Dak is underappreciated, because he's a Cowboy. Jerry Jones said ridiculous stuff all the time. Dak is a really good quarterback, and he's very aggressive with the football. There's not a throw on the field he's scared to make, and Pickens is a stud. And it's really come to fruition. So congratulations, all the guys that have Pickens. And now you're on the clock to move him into somebody a little safer and try to continue with as much ceiling as you can moving forward. And might as well not sell him off of every team, right?
No, I'm not saying that at all. Like I'd want to keep half,
you know,
because I do, like you said, you are getting rid of a lot of potential ceiling here. And Underdog just dropped prediction markets, spreads, totals, and team outcomes. And the best part, you can combine them with player picks for bigger multipliers. Sign up today with code FF Dynasty and make a $5 entry to get up to $100 in fantasy bonus entries. Prediction markets are now live in 25 states, including Texas, California, and Florida. And Underdog is available in over 40 states with player picks and draft games. Prediction markets, player picks, all on Underdog. He's showing you this is what he can be. This is what we saw. This is what we liked, and it's all happening right in front of you. It's just there's one, maybe he's not a Cowboy because they got a lot of money in Dak, they got a lot of money in CD. They did just get rid of Micah, but they got Quentin Williams. Will they keep him? They traded for the other defensive tackle. They're certainly going to have a lot of draft picks to choose from or some trades. So they've got some cap stuff they need to figure out. But it seems like, I don't know how you move off of Pickens at this point if you are Dallas, but there's going to be plenty of suitors, and some of them are going to be your Tennessees and your teams where you're like, I don't know if them boys can handle George Pickens, the Steelers didn't really handle. The Steelers were like, "But you got to go."
Yeah, let's put. Yeah, exactly. Tomlin said, "I'm good." Exactly. Yeah. Like right now, dude. If George Pickens was in Minnesota and going through what Justin Jefferson's going through,
that was when I said that Jefferson name, I was going there, and then we just got somewhere else. But exactly right. Exactly my point.
Justin Jefferson, absolute class act. And if George Pickens was standing beside me right now, he'd punch me in the face. Because I'm insinuating that he's not
a class, right? Yeah,
I'm literally saying he's not on Justin Jefferson's level as a human being,
maturity level,
yes, and all this would be getting rearranged. He'd be tearing my face up, but like Justin Jefferson handling it like a boss right now, which is whatever's going on in Minnesota with their quarterback. Justin Jefferson's diving all over the place trying to catch a football. George Pickens would lose his mind.
Absolutely.
He already did it with
-2 passing yards in the second half, Bo.
George Pickens already lived through the Steelers quarterback fiasco.
Sure.
Right. And it didn't go well. And in very small amounts of time did it look good when they were targeting him. If it's an on target anywhere close to his body, good things happened. And then when it was unreachable, he was very upset.
And he can no real concern for CD though, right?
No.
Okay. All right. On the other side, Wandale was one that we mentioned had raised some eyebrows here. What are you doing with Wan'Dale Robinson? Still only 24 years old, and I know he's been in the league and had some injuries, but playing really well. Probably, I don't know. He needs a contract next year, so he'll probably be elsewhere, I would assume. Although they do have a lot of rookies, so they could potentially bring him back. But it feels like they want something splashier. George Pickens, in New York, right next to neighbors. So I don't know that he's going to be there, but what do we do? What do you do with Wandale right now? You getting out, you buying in? Because I'm pretty interested in Wandale moving forward. But if you could get a 2 for Wandale right now, would you move off and re-roll it?
Bro, I don't. I said, and I'm sure you're right there in lockstep with me. If Cedric Tillman could take Jameis Winston with him. Top 10, right? Cedric Tillman was unstoppable with Jameis Winston, and here comes Jameis Winston, and he just gives Wandale Robinson the game of his life. And like you and I got a team where we had Nico Collins, Puka, CeeDee Lamb, and I did scoop and plug off of waivers, bought Michael Wilson in FFPC, and he scored 20. But Wandale Robinson's on our bench, outscoring Nico, Puka, CD, Michael Will, just crushing for us on our bench. And so I say that to say the expectations for Wandale was we literally made a video about this FFPC team that we drafted in the offseason. It's like he's our 16th round pick and he's a starter if we need him. He's a everything's going wrong. He's our fourth starter on our wide receiver if we need him. And he's been just that. until Jameis Winston came along, and now he looked like a Pro Bowler yesterday, Bo.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so,
even before that, it was from week 5. He's got 102 targets, 7, 7, 12, 4, 11, 11, 9, 14.
Well, I mean, they literally got nobody else to throw the ball
for
to.
Sure.
And so, but Wan'Dale's always been a pretty good target guy and a high target guy. And last year he was, and this year they did say the Giants said he's worthy of going downfield more, and he's worthy of deeper targets, and all that stuff is. I think in the right situation, like you said, given some context, I could see like a high end to, if you're a bad team, I can see giving you Wan'Dale and taking your high end to, using that to package up something later. But like, I'm glad I got one. We've seen this in the past, dude. I'm glad I got Wandale on our team, and I'm not giving him away for super cheap, because all he's got to do is either change scenery into a spot, a system, a team that has a quarterback that wants to throw his way consistently. And when I say consistently, the Giants have been that, but with what quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. And now Jameis Winston comes in and he's got 30 PPR points, right? So. Yeah. I'm not going to say, hey, this is a one spike week for one. Wandale Robinson may never have another game like this in his career, but it's not because he's not capable.
Right. No, I think he's more than capable. I think he's a solid player. So would you rather have Christian Watson or Wandale?
Oh man, I love Christian Watson.
I'm going Wandale.
That's fine. You could split hairs. Wandale can more.
They couldn't be more different.
Yeah, they could, but Christian Watson's coming on strong, and he's got a 1.5.
But also missing, rookie receiver, missing some players, so that's same as Wandale, sort of situationally, as far as why maybe the volume's up a little bit. How about
with a third of those targets in the last
another Packer, Jaden Reed or Wandale?
It's supposed to be Jaden Reed, and it would be
way more. I like the idea of that trade there. I don't mind going to Jaden Reed from Wandale, just trying to up that lottery ticket. But go ahead.
Wandale Robinson is a much better wide receiver than
currently
than Jaden Reed is a better football player. Wandale Robinson is a better wide receiver. And to each his own, where that happens and how, what happens with each player's career, so much is not even on the wide receiver to decide that, what system they're in, and if they get targets or not.
Let's say you put Wandale next year in Atlanta next to Drake.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be something that would be interesting? I think so.
I think so too. Yes, it would be interesting, but just calling it like we've seen him. If Penix is healthy and Drake is healthy, and with Bijan, right, you're not going to get Drake's getting 15 targets a game if Penix is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like we haven't seen a quarterback consistently target a wide receiver like that, no matter what, very often.
He's just stay in New York and go to the Jets.
No.
So. But yeah, no, I like the idea of maybe trying to package Wandale up and upgrade with him, or I didn't mind the Jaden Reed kind of lateral move there. But I'm not dying to get out of the Wandale business, but I would if things.
Well, we talked about it last week, right? We talked about it last week. 3 weeks ago, you could have got Travion Henderson for way cheaper than now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get this may be the best game Wandale ever has. If you need to pair up Wandale Robinson and T. Higgins right now to go get a St. Brown, Wandale, T. Higgins, a second round pick, and Tyrone Tracy, give it all for St. Brown. If he's a building block to go and increase your odds of winning, that's fine. You can't just be like, oh, this player is playing great, I don't want to trade him, right? It doesn't work like that.
Did you give Wandale and like a 3 for Shakir? Because I feel like Wandale and Shakir are pretty similar as far as what they can do, just situationally right now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I could do that. Shakir, you would imagine there's got to be the problem with the Bills' lack of overhaul on the offense. If Josh Allen is so good, it still keeps working.
Yeah,
they're literally stale out there. It's so stale. It's so ugly. It's not even if almost any other quarterback in the league, Lamar could do it. Patrick Mahomes could make anything work. Joe Burrow could probably do it, but it's so stale over there. And then, of course, they're super lucky to have James Cook and just breaking out of a crease and exploding through there like he shot out of a cannon every single time. Like Shakir makes a lot happen with that stale looking offense. Shakir. It's been up and down, and there's been a lot more downs than you would imagine. Even if you look, there's just with the lack of wide receiver play around Shakir, you would imagine Shakir's been even better this year.
Yeah.
And not that he's been bad. I'm just saying like consistent targets.
Yeah.
He disappears.
Rather have Downs
than Wandale?
Yeah.
Yes. I have no idea how Downs is going to get the ball, but I'd rather have Josh Downs than Wan'Dale. They're probably pretty similar, but I like Downs a lot.
And that Jaden Higgins has obviously been playing really well, but like a Trey Harris to try to trade a Wan'Dale for would be kind of fun to re-roll the lottery a little bit.
A little YOLO.
Matthew Golden again, not really performing right now, but maybe he turns into the Packers. People are saying he's getting open. It could be better, and maybe you add a little something and get your Jaden Higgins, but like those kind of younger guys who haven't exploded yet might be not a bad path to like explore your Wan'Dale trades with. So
those are good examples.
All right, real quick on the tight end front, it's McBride, it's Kelce, it's Loveland over the last 6 weeks, and there's blow up games in here, which are obviously tight end wise really really help the bottom everybody but McBride and Kelce and Bowers, right? So McBride, Kelce, 1, 2, Loveland 3, Bowers 4, Gadsden 5, her and a bye week. Kittle, Schultz, Juwan Johnson, Freiermuth, Theo Johnson, Tyler Warren, and Hunter Henry in there right now for them. So title hunting, what would you buy Kelce for right now, man?
Great question. He came back to life, didn't he?
Sure did, man. I tell you what, I didn't want anything to do with him this year.
Now, bro, even if you look at this, we talked about this in the offseason, like everybody's talking about Kelce, but his catches, he had like 14 in one game last year, and he disappeared throughout 75% of your games almost last year. And with wide receiver injuries everywhere, like he's no reason for him not to be. But so this year, Kelce's back. It's one of the craziest things that I've seen this year is, I don't know if there was ice in his knees and like, they were like, all right, we're just going to take it easy on you. Like literally last year, hey, Bo, we don't need you. We're going for the 3-peat. We just need you to show up in the playoffs. And like now they didn't get the 3-peat and all the pressure's off. And now it's like, all right, let's go prove it. Here, Kelce's got a chip on his shoulder. Maybe this is like, hey, this is my last rodeo. I'm going to go out there and play every game like I don't have to step on the field again. So who cares if I get hurt? I don't know what's going on, but Kelce's being ridiculous out there. And what you would pay for him to help win a championship. The reason why that's such a loaded question is because if you don't have tight end points and you get matched up against McBride in the playoffs, now you're in trouble. And I would be saying Bowers too, but right now outside of a 75-point game that he had 2 weeks ago,
and you've lost Laporta and Kraft. So I got a team with Laporta right now. I lost him. Luckily, Schultz is playing well, so I throw him in there. But there's plenty of teams who had good teams with Laporta and Kraft in there, and they lost those guys. They're probably still doing okay. I got some teams that are still doing okay without him, but Kelce's you're looking around at tight ends and who do I want to buy? And it's like, Theo Johnson's kind of fun to buy. At least he's, you're not buying Kelce. This might be it. That might be a dead asset after this year. So it's like,
how much he's about to marry the richest performer in the history of the world. Like it's, there's a lot to be said for love of the game, but once you got once it's billions, I don't know if I want to take a chance on my leg going crooked. Right.
Yeah.
So the problem is he's so close to the end of the line. Even like you said, Johnson, who's a lot of fun. He's not nearly putting he's with the Saints. It's up and down. He's been very consistent with targets. You know, he's been very
Theo Johnson was the other guy, but
yeah, Juwan. I'm talking about Juwan because
he's still only 29 at least.
That's what I was about to say. He's in his late 20s, but like the Saints just don't visit the end zone often enough to even compete with Kelce here. Is it like, hey, I'm going into the playoffs. I need to win 2 games and I get paid. But like, what do you pay? What are you going to do? Give a second round pick? You give a 2 for Kelce?
I mean, I can't. It's basically like a third plus. Like I'm almost at the point where if I want Kelce, I'm going to go in there and like, all right, I'm going to spill the tea here.
Hey guys, quick reminder. If you haven't signed up for the free Discord or the free Patreon, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description.
We're in a league together. I think you're doing probably pretty well in the league. I need a tight end. It's like, I'm probably not going to go try to buy Kelce. I'm going to probably go try to buy I'm going to try to see, can I give a first for Jalen Waddle and Kelce? You know, like what can I go do?
That's a good idea.
Where I can go buy, I could spend money, get a good asset, and then in buying the good asset, get the depreciating asset. In this specific example, I know
Kelce is a ride along.
I know the Kelce guy doesn't want to win this year. He's a middling team. He'd love to get some points off his team. So like, is he going to take a third though for him? I don't know. I mean, you probably should if your ship's going down this year because you don't know what the hell is going to happen. But you know, it's like you're almost like, well, that's a slap in the face. Kelce's won me 3 championships. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But if you get nothing for Kelce, then he retires. What league is this?
I'm not telling you. You got to figure it out.
I probably know your lineup. I could at least add to the trade scenario. If you told me
our oldest running dynasty league. The OG league, right? Okay. I have Dalton Schultz, so I don't have to make a move. But like with Kelce, it just puts. Now we're back in contention. If you roll up against an elite tight end, you feel a little bit better.
Oh yeah, you're top seed in that league,
top dog right now. But I've got a lot of people. All of a sudden, I was reigning supreme, and it's slowly dwindling down.
I'm right behind you, and I think I'm catching. I'm second place in total points. So I think I'm second place in the league too.
But yeah, and there's other teams getting hot right now. And so, you know, this is just kind of the dichotomy of things. So like, I've been just thinking about that one a bit of like, how can I go get some, but like, I don't necessarily want to pay straight up money. And I don't think it's the smartest move either to go. Like, if I can just get him for a third, I would do it tomorrow, you know?
Yeah. Why don't you give him 2 thirds?
I could.
I like the idea of getting paying more. I love that idea actually of paying more. Maybe not for that specific, but I'm just the idea of saying, hey, I'm gonna get
I know he has Waddle, so I threw him
right. First gives you Waddle and Kelce, and now Kelce's quote unquote the ride along. Kelce's riding shotgun in that trade versus the having to pay the 2 for Kelce.
Yeah.
If that's
and even then, like maybe if I just send the 3, it doesn't happen. But if I send a first and a third, and like I'm okay with paying a first for Waddle anyway, but it gets the juices flowing a little bit more where like he's at least there's like the first and third looks like Waddle, and then the throw-ins Kelce, and I got a little something extra on there. Like even if I had to go to that, I'm still okay with it I get a 26-year-old player who has shown me he can be a wide receiver 1, and I get I think he has Olave too. So like I could interchange those guys and, what can I piece together there to get a big, younger, good player and still be able to pick up Kelce without having to just go in there, bare-assed with a third, right? Where it doesn't feel good. If you're the Kelce owner, you're like, this doesn't a third for Kelce. This is an insult, but it's like, I don't want to pay you 2, even though it's probably going to be most likely, knock on wood, this is the longest running league we've had. I've never won it. It's absolutely insane and extremely aggravating.
Oh man.
So, but it's most likely going to be 12, 11 or 10, I would assume. Hopefully I get the buy, I don't know, but
you're probably getting the buy. So Kelce's going to help you.
210's not the worst. It's 1 quarterback. So even better. It's just an old league.
Yep.
Not tight end premium.
Yep.
So I don't know. But how about like Schultz and Johnson, like you said, they're fine buys, right? And I think people are a lot easier to get off of those guys for say a third right now.
Definitely.
But like, would you rather buy a player like a Schultz if you need it right now, or would you rather buy like a Theo Johnson?
Theo Johnson or Juwan Johnson?
I could put Juwan and Schultz kind of together. They're both like that 30-year-old tight end who have been good. But Theo Johnson's on this list.
He's way younger. Yeah,
right. But so like, would you rather pay a little bit more for Theo Johnson right now, or would you rather pay like, let's see what Juwan Johnson is versus which, here's a third for Juwan Johnson, right?
I think I would I'm happy giving the third for Juwan Johnson
over.
I don't have.
You'd rather give a third than give a 2 for Theo Johnson?
Yes. And I if I regret that, that's fine. Juwan Johnson, the Saints need a lot of help that they can't just go. They need help in a lot of different directions. So they're not going to be able to bring in 2 more high volume pass catchers and make Juwan Johnson obsolete. And they just paid him. They're not even trying to do that. Right. Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm here for the Dalton Schultz bounce back year, but I mean, I like Jalen Noel a lot. Jaden Higgins is a stud in the making, and Nico is one of the top dogs. I don't know how Schultz is getting all this volume. I don't, Well,
the other 2 guys are rookies right now, and that's
exactly.
That's why.
So I'm
the slot demons.
I'd rather sell high on Dalton Schultz than buy high. That's for sure.
Well, I don't know how high you're buying, but like he could help you get through some games. He's been, like I said, these are the last 6 weeks of tight end play, and Schultz and Johnson are back to back, and then Theo Johnson's in between Freiermuth and those 2 guys, or Freiermuth in between those 2 guys, right? So, but Theo just looks like a part of this offense that could be emerging
for sure. Well, Theo's more
good
of
athleticism.
Theo's a longer play, obviously, but like if you're going into the playoffs in 2 weeks, I'd much rather see Juwan Johnson and Dalton Schultz in my lineup versus Theo. Theo's just a lot easier to just go 1 for 13 yards on you in the playoffs. He could go 5 for 50, but he could easily not do anything because he's a young tight end. That's not like demanding 8 targets a game like Juwan Johnson is.
Well, I mean, I think au contraire, mademoiselle there. Since week 5, 7 targets, 4 targets, 7 targets, 4 targets, 6, 8, and 4 for Theo, right? And
wow.
Then, so since week 4, 10 points, 21, 4, 17, 5, 11, 14, 6, and 10.
I had him plugged into the starting lineup.
That's no premium. That's just a regular old.
Yeah, and non-premium. I got him in the F1 league plugged in a couple times while I had some injuries, and I didn't realize he was doing that good.
I mean, he's had some drops, and he's had some, big time drops that really stunk. But this is Theo Johnson is definitely somebody who kind of, I think he's got an emerging maple syrup conglomerate, and.
I did not know that he had 7 targets in 3 out of the last 5 games.
Yeah, man. Like he's again also missing pieces, so it could be a good run out too, and some positivity.
Yeah, well said. We just had Wandale and what other wide receiver, right?
And we've seen it with Dart and Winston with getting targets. So all positive things there. And I don't think it's Theo Johnson right now. This is Theo. Let's see, anything good here? Here's a 27-2. In tight end premium. So I don't mind. I could do that. Here's Travis Kelce and a third for Theo Johnson, right?
Wow.
Here's a second for Theo Johnson, a first for Theo Johnson, and 1 point premium. Wow.
Yikes.
The 2 and a 4. So yeah. All right. Well, we can wrap this thing up. I did want to quickly get your opinion on kind of what we saw from Shedeur. We talked about it at one point. Or we had mentioned at the top of the show that we were going to get to Shedeur, and just, obviously it's one game. It is what it is. Would you, buy, sell, hold Shedeur? And then what are your general thoughts kind of moving forward?
Well, I saw bits and pieces of it, so I didn't go back and watch it yet. So just to say, hey, am I putting a stamp on something? I'm happy for the kid. Like, I'm happy that they got the first couple touchdowns. I'm happy that it wasn't, 2 pick sixes in the first half. I'm happy they didn't have like a 30-yard lost sack, right? I mean, just everything that everybody said was going to happen didn't happen, and I'm happy that it didn't happen, right? Whether or not he was worth the first round pick, I don't know.
Yeah, we can't. There's no.
But
if you're saying
what
that now,
happened-
you're just trying to confirm priors.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if he should have been picked 22 in the first round, or if he should have been picked.
Seems like he should have been a hell of a lot higher than 5. I can tell you that.
5th round. Whatever happened to make him go the 5th round had nothing to do with football, and I'm not okay with that. I wasn't okay when it happened. I was upset. I was very upset when it happened because I bet for three quarterbacks to go in the first round. but when that didn't happen, I was very upset. But once we got past the first 10, 12, 15 picks in the second round, and all the teams that needed quarterbacks passed on him again, and then again in the 3rd round, I was like, I'm good on whatever that was. Yeah. So I'm super happy for Shedeur for what happened on Sunday. Is it going to get better? I don't know. I hope so. I would love to become a Shedeur Sanders fan just for what happened at the NFL draft.
Yeah, they will have San Fran next week, which pass rush shouldn't really be an issue. So that's positive for Shedeur, where they rolled him out a lot in this game. They moved him. Obviously, whatever the Raiders are, the defense for the Raiders is pretty good, and they have just a game wrecker on that side of things in Max Crosby. So they did a good job of moving the pocket with him. It rolled him out a lot. By now, I'm sure everybody's seen the dime on 3rd and 8 in the beginning where he's rolling.
Oh, to Isaiah Bond. That
moves
was wild.
The sack and then just absolutely drops the dime. Then the screen to Sampson. But he made a couple other okay throws. I think he was 11 to 20 for 200 yards and a touchdown, right? But, I guess in general, just to kind of form out, I can tell you this. He looks better than fucking JJ McCarthy. Which, goddamn it, and Chev said this. I want to see Anthony Richardson energy for JJ McCarthy, because Anthony Richardson was at least fucking exciting when you watched him. Like, it's not even exciting right now, and everything's way better over there. So not to get sidetracked, but Shedeur Sanders for a 3rd in 2028.
I'll take Sanders. Yeah, I'll take Sanders.
Okay. Milroe or Sanders?
I'll take Milroe.
Ooh, still with Sammy balling.
Yeah, Sammy is balling, but injuries happen, and when I cannot wait.
I know. I knew that was your
Milroe at some point.
This is Milroe and a 2 for Sanders.
When I say I can't wait for Milroe, I mean I don't want to see Milroe for 2 years, because I got a whole lot of Sammy D, and I need Sammy D to stay healthy. But Milroe's going to get a chance, and injuries do happen.
Shedeur is interesting because there's so much, there's so many. There's really, it seems like a political debate because the sides are just so fucking divided, and it just seems like you catch the right guy and you really could get, I think, a lot for Shedeur after a game. It seems like potentially, right?
I love that. And then also, dude, if you catch that team believing in him for a second, right? Like, if all of a sudden the Browns believe in him and they go give an inspired effort for a couple weeks.
Well, Myles Garrett, and I don't know how true the quote was. It wasn't from like one of those, but it was a very enduring quote of Shedeur of like, hey, this guy, whenever he gets on the field, gives us a chance, and I'm ready to go to war for him. Essentially,
that's what I'm saying. With that defense and way they've been playing,
you only need to score 20 points, bro. 16
points a game will get you there. Right? It just not turning it over will get you there with that defense. And that defense has dealt with everything. And to have somebody like Sanders come in, if he could come in and just be not awful and give them the ability, like you said, on that 3rd down to get away from that sack and chuck it. And Myles Garrett had the interview, and he's like, I saw him throw it up there, and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't even see, he say IB, but I didn't even see Isaiah Bond down there. And then all of a sudden I see it. He drops it in the bucket, and he's like, that's my quarterback.
You had another big play with Judy where I don't know what the fuck Judy was doing, but like he threw a nice ball to him.
Yes.
And so
that wasn't a fumble. Yeah.
Couple decent plays there. Like I said, they got San Fran next week. We know there's not a huge pass rush there. So that's going to be good for Shedeur in that regard of like, hey, you could probably build some, you might not win the game, or maybe you do. A defense is good, like you said, on the other side. So, but it's a good another week of like, all right, well, we can get in some rhythms. We can get you got to remember that these guys, haven't played together. He doesn't know who needs to be his guy yet. He doesn't know how Judy runs this. He doesn't know how, Tillman runs that. And so not trying to cape for the guy or anything. I thought he was a whole lot better than what everybody ended up with as the consensus. I thought he should have been, end of the first round, second round draft pick. Like if Tyler Shuck's getting drafted in the second round, Shedeur should have been drafted in the second round.
For sure. Exactly. And even he came in last week at the end of the game when
people were trying to kill him. And I was like, I thought it was decent from the spot he got put in.
Agree. And he met, it wasn't pretty. And like they couldn't have been a worse spot to get put in. And they
division rival with their hair pulled back, ready to get after you. They were blitzing the dog shit out of them.
Yeah. Everybody's like that because of that. Now we told you not an NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? What are we talking about?
And maybe he isn't, but
but I'm glad he got that moment. No matter what, you can't take that W away from him, and I'm happy for him.
There was just like you said, there was some juice with the Browns, which is interesting. So, all right, we'll wrap this one up. What's that?
I said we hadn't seen juice with the Browns in a long time.
Yeah. All right, we'll wrap this one up. We'll catch you next week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Peace.
Adios.